Coming up on the Social Grenade podcast, part 2 with Gary May.
We've been telling our clients for about 7-8 weeks now because things are now hitting on pricing. We're telling the dealers now for 2 months measurably. The next 6 to 9 months are going to be headwinds. Subprime hit its all-time high of defaults in the last month, and prime hit its second highest of 30, 60, and 90-day late. And now we're looking at higher monthly payments. Eyeballs as a single vanity metric do not buy cars. The marketing poison is from intent to demand creation. Where we really fail in automotive is what closes a customer. What does CPC mean, except for checking A/B testing on your ad copy or the landing page where you look at the differences? If you're converting at also a high sales rate from the conversion to contacted to in the store to sold, CPC does not matter. Boom, you heard it. It's factual. Get off of it. We don't talk about CPC, have not in nearly 10 years. It doesn't matter.
Well, the thing is, though, that they're not even, that dealerships aren't even considering, like, okay, so I drove them to my website. Okay, but then what? What happened when they got there? Do you know what happened when they got there?
We do.
Are you retargeting them even after that? So when they came in and they got to here, are we retargeting them with something that's relevant to where they went on your website? Like, they're not even asking these questions. And then, I mean, it's just crazy. And I know, like being inside of a dealership, like people like, oh, you guys don't know what we have to do all day long. We do know what you have to do all day long, but like your vendors should be transparent. And when they screw something up, they should be transparent about that. And whenever they're like, man, we got a low CPC, but when we investigated ourselves, we found out that they were in New Mexico and not in Texas at all. And so we had to modify or whatever, blah, 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 and move this over here. And now you're going to see a higher CPC, but we believe we have it dialed in now. And those transparencies, I mean, we've always been super transparent. And I mean, it's cost us clients, but whatever. Like, I'd rather turn myself in than get caught. 100% of the time. That's always my motto. Go, look, hey, this was a mistake that we made on our part. Here's what we've done to correct this thing. But now we should start seeing this thing move. Whereas any other vendor would have sat there and blown smoke up their ass and, yeah, those aren't real, whatever it is. I wanted to go back to when you said, like, and I love this part of this, you said about having an event, bringing in the bounce house, bringing in the thing and I would have my salespeople out there really just interviewing them. And one of the questions that I think is super important is, what did you drive before you drove this vehicle you drove in here?
Right.
And why did you drive that car? And why did you switch from that to this? And I'll tell you the reason why I think it's important, because so I'm not one of those people that's brand loyal. Like I wasn't like, oh, my dad's a Chevy man, I'm a Chevy man, blah, blah, blah. I'm not that person. Right. I've never been that person. It's like, it's why I leased a vehicle, because I don't know what I'm going to like in 3 years.
Bingo. So in that realm, for paid search and for paid social, we have a Midwest VW dealer, and they hit us with some data about 4 or 5 months ago. That's always trailing, unfortunately. I wish we'd known it before. And we do a lot of assessment because we're running both those facets for them. But one, their OE, Volkswagen, came to them and said, our largest conquest out of brand is Chevrolet Traverse. So we started buying conquests, and again, without a focus of CPC, even day one, before, when Google Ads and Meta's still learning, buying the other terms, buying other intent. And this dealer has been converting typically 8 to 10 units that they believe wholeheartedly would have gone into the competing model. And a matter of fact, they've been averaging under an $11 cost per lead in paid media on these campaigns, and converting compared to normal, because you also have to look at store rate. And again, it's lack of measurement makes vanity metrics that sound good not matter, because there's not a comparative, or there's not history, or everything's looked at in a 30-day cycle, not year over year, not quarter over quarter, not pacing.
But not only that, Gary, but also like competing against yourself, not competing against some national number, right? So just to take it back to like people, we'll just use this analogy in case people are that simple-minded. So let's think about going viral, right, on social media, right? And so I would rather go viral for me, right? So if my normal content gets 400 views and I have one that gets 4,000 views, I've gone viral for me. Now, I haven't gone viral in the sense of what viral means out in the big, bold world, but for me, it was an outlier, right? And so the same thing for dealerships, right? So they're competing against themselves, not the VW store or the national average or whatever. Like they've got to go for me, this is an increase. For me, this is an improvement. For me, this is way better than I had last year before last.
Viral doesn't matter in that because you're not a Kardashian, right? Or you're not.
I am somewhere. I have nice feet.
There you go. So one, the measurement matters. What you're talking about instead of vanity is, and we hear this with folks that are considered influencers in the space, is you're always competing with yourself. All you're looking to do tomorrow is be better than you were today. And that's in that vein that you just brought up. That's what matters.
Yeah.
A lot of vendor pitches, definitely over the last 25 years, I've been around in the space. In the last, we started year 19, a little over 2 months ago. The pitches are about improvement in leads. And that's a very good metric because that at the end of the day, that matters. There's a pervasive website company for years said, we'll increase your lead conversion by at least 50%, or I forget what their guarantee was, exactly what you could get out, or they would give you something. You couldn't leave the website. They were gated. You couldn't leave the website except for closing your browser. You couldn't leave the website without a conversion form. So of course, conversion is going to go up. The next question, or the first question after a pitch, should be, what exactly do you do for that? Or surprise me. What's your methodology? Because even if you say, oh, it's patented, oh, it's secret sauce, which is never the truth. It's never the truth. There may be a part of it that is true. There's some pretty cool tech out there that is unique to certain vendors, but pervasively it's not. So this website company was because you couldn't get off the website without converting. And nowadays it's gating in the chat tool or gating on certain pages, getting off map pricing. There's a lot of methodology. At the end of the day, are you accountable vendor to the metrics? And two, is the dealer knowledgeable and accountable to not only holding the vendor accountable, but holding yourself accountable? In your example of, am I going viral for me, 400 in your example to 4,000, is know what those metrics are, know outcomes, and then pivot on those. Apply what you learned, especially if it's repeatable. Apply that to the future and then figure out when things are off significantly enough to how do you need to pivot again or slightly pivot? How do you move those efforts, the metrics? And maybe you need to go back to way back, not in the opening with you, but relatively far back.
Epic BDC is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Tune in.
Is we've been telling our clients for about 7-8 weeks now, because things are now hitting on pricing. And we have a mix of domestic and import, high line and volume brands. We're telling the dealers now for 2 months, measurably, the next 6 to 9 months are going to be headwinds. We all know in the industry, it's not only the all-time high for vehicle pricing, new and used, generally speaking, wholesale is a little more volatile, but 2, it's the highest payments of all time. 3, subprime hit its all-time high of defaults in the last month, and prime hit its second highest of 30, 60, and 90-day late. And now
Right.
we're looking at higher monthly payments. We're looking at some very interesting metrics. And if you look at the last roughly 8 weeks, new and used car shopping is off about 20%. We're almost getting back to time where it's like food, rent, car payment. Which one am I doing this month?
Right. And especially whenever you can go, hey, I could budget Uber in here cheaper than I can this car payment. I mean, and look at the news that's coming out right now, right? That they're talking about the 50-year mortgage.
Yeah.
Right. So when are we going to see those terms in the vehicles going to be moving as well?
Or 7-year car loans, but more pervasive.
Mhm.
What they started in Canada, gosh, over a decade ago with the 2-month payments and split it up
Mhm.
bi-monthly, I think is the expression. And now the adoption rate, even though it's slow because the OEMs tried subscription, didn't really work well. Cadillac, Volvo were two of the notables, is now Sixt is getting traction on their subscription with their off rental.
Mhm.
We have to pivot. Your advertising cannot remain the same. If you're a dealer, hear me out. Your advertising cannot remain the same. Period. You've got to get granular. You've got to get in a macro and micro sense, especially comparatively, you've got to be able to lead, if not bleed, on effort versus results and get outside. Another quote I heard from stage recently is an executive from this paid search company, notably paid search. Our ads are more dynamic. Our ad tech is amazing. We just won an account from this ad tech company that said that on stage a little less than a month ago, because all their ads were static. So the GM had us take over the paid search. You've got to stay on your tippy toes. You got to get in front of your skis or on top of your skis. You've really got to be willing to get out there and stop doing I'll use this analogy from a mentality, not an execution standpoint. Manufacturers for years, and I originally was born and raised in Southern California. So this ad perspective, I've ridden by there. I've driven, but I've ridden by there on my bicycle 100 times. Point Magoo Rock or Magoo Rock on PCH. Between Malibu and Ventura, and most notably Port Hueneme and the strawberry fields by Oxnard. It's that big, beautiful rock in the Pacific Ocean next to PCH, curving by the mountainside off the Santa Monica Mountains. Every manufacturer's used that strip of road for national ads, still photo, commercials, and B-roll. And they're still doing it. It's like, oh, you're using B-roll from PCH and you're a Colorado dealer in the Rockies and it's wintertime.
Doesn't it make you crazy?
This is a reverse, by the way. You can use that now. Stop doing that. And even if it costs you money, go out there and shoot something with your car in your backyard.
Yes.
In wintertime. And use it on social too. Stop showing the glowing sunset on PCH with Magoo Rock in the background from California in January when you've got 3 feet of snow on the ground.
Right. And we did the same thing. We would do social media audits on some pages. This one was Corpus Christi, Texas, a Ford dealership in Corpus Christi, Texas. And literally they had Ford trucks coming through these snowy mountains, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who okayed this? And so one of the things that we do as a social agency is that it's very rarely that we will take a client that we won't go on site with. We take their vehicles into their community and we take pictures in their community in front of landmarks or things that actually people know now they've connected their cars with this city and go, I know these things, right? This is what it looks like. And it's just part of the service that we offer. We work with a couple of Joe Webb stores, and literally Shasta was in there with one of our team members, and they spent 2 days in there literally taking vehicles off site, and we gather enough content for 90 days. We go back every 90 days and we make sure that we're coming in and getting that content, because it's so important that there's not this huge disconnect. When people see your stuff, they're like, what is this? This does not resemble us.
There's even simpler. If you have one of the German brands, notably Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, so the whole realm, and you're excited about a new model that's not yet on the ground, or there's a media post and you're resharing it a lot, and we've fallen victim of this to ourselves. We had to QA it and fix it, but pervasively, because some of those German brands outside of CG are so bad of loading new assets, new model year assets into their media libraries for download, you're going to share a post with a Euro plate on it. It's not to spec. And having worked with Canadian dealers since 2009, same thing is, hey, you're showing a USA plated, well, at least the media plate instead of an EU plate or a Japanese plate.
Right.
You're showing a USA trim level, like even the trunk lid. You're sharing a USA spec model and trying to reflect that here in Canada for us. Take that down, change the photo, delete the post, repost it new. We don't mind. Yeah, it got a lot of traction, but it's not correct spec. Know what the heck you're doing. And again, the syndication vendors, the one box checking company, they're not making sure it's compliant for you, for your area, for your trim levels that you can't get for 6 months. And one of the German brands, one of those German volume brands, already mentioned them, is really bad at that. They will advertise nationally. Their tier one ad will be their low trim, but yet what they're sending to their dealers is mid-range to fully loaded trim. So the offer is on a vehicle you can't get. The photos are for a vehicle that's not available on the ground, but yet that's what they're advertising. And I'm not saying don't do that, but don't promote it. Don't put money behind it, because that's giving the wrong message. Even though it may be compliant and you have none on the ground, you're not going to get a class action lawsuit against you. You stack in a rebate for something you do have and falsifying it. Or now with the new rules coming out for Google ads, you have a dealer ad and your online price does not match your ad, Google ads down. That's happening, or going to be happening very shortly. You have to look at where marketing meets the customer, or where the rubber meets the road. And this is the problem with advertising, and especially large scale. And the intermediaries outside of the compliance companies are really bad at doing this themselves. It's interesting. They'll tell you one thing, but they'll actually execute on the other. And yes, the intermediaries, pardon me, going to throw darts. We're friends with most of them. Shift, Unite, JD Power, Trilogy, Auto Data, et cetera, et cetera. The ones who make the margins in the middle for not doing much for dealers.
Right.
Sorry, not sorry.
That's true.
They'll report you, but they'll be the ones in a dealership saying, this dealer is very successful, this campaign that has something not compliant. Why don't you copy that? And then the dealer gets a strike or loses allocation.
The I'm a Car Chick podcast is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Listen now.
This is the problem from a marketing sense. We have other big problems, but this is one of the biggest issues from marketing sense is these intermediaries, and by proxy, most of the OEMs are trying to homogenize dealers because we're trying to fix the bottom 20% that were not compliant. And we're hurting the top 5 or 10% that are really good at what they do. Right. And you're penalizing them by saying, no, you can't have that. You can't take down our banner ad. You can't fix this. You can't change that, because this is what we say has to go up. And our middle people, our intermediaries, are going to shove this down your throat, or the website companies are going to lock that asset. You can no longer take it down. No, I want to have a better asset for my area, for my prospects, for my customers that is compliant. Don't do that. The OEM, the middleman, because that's the reality is I don't want to look like everybody else. It's the worst thing you can do. There's no differentiation, value, advantage, benefit, any benefit to the customer.
Well, if we talk about going back to like who we're marketing to, are we even considering them? Are we considering that we're marketing to a customer base, or are we just pushing our cars? I like it like this. So I'm really big on, I want to curate an audience today, and then I'm going to give them what I want them to see tomorrow, right? Yeah. I know how on social to create a tribe today. I can create a post that will suck in every soccer mom in the area. And then tomorrow I'm going to push out a Kia Carnival and I'm going to speak to those same soccer moms. And so I think most marketing agencies, or even if a dealership has it in-house, they're like, oh, great, the Nissan Versa is coming out. It's $199 a month, blah, blah, blah. And then they just splash this marketing out there. And I liken it to like every big city has a Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, right? They have one. Everyone has one. And I think about on a parade going up and down Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. All of the people are on the streets. What it's like if all of those people are on the side of the streets and you're just driving and screaming out the window, Nissan Versas for $199 a month. You don't know if these people have a driver's license, whether they have 17 kids. What you're just shouting the thing that you want them to hear, and they're not receiving it because they're not in that market for that thing.
Correct. However, the dealer doesn't even really know if that's what they want to hear or not, if that's the message they want to promote. And again, audiences, measurement, segmentation, results. Are you paying for results? Are you paying? Most SEM and paid social companies did the same thing. They opened the meeting with this big funnel. 500,000 impressions. Eyeballs don't buy cars. But Gary, those eyeballs eventually do. Yes, however, eyeballs as a single vanity metric do not buy cars.
Right.
If they're not ready, they're not considering, even though they may fall into it. They're not considering it now. They don't know to consider it, whether it's the Versa or something else. The marketing poison is from intent to demand creation. And again, where we fail inside, although I shouldn't say again, I didn't finish my point earlier, where we really fail in automotive is what closes a customer. And with most BDC sales departments trying to clean up their data, and I don't mean having clean data, I'm talking about cleaning their data for a comp plan. Bad dupe. They weren't really a buyer. Oh, those were OEM demand generation or event leads and stuff like that. Here's my closing rate. Let's be honest, gross to sold. This industry on average converts realistically under 15% and largely under 10. Take a look at Rocket Mortgage's online conversion. And it's one of the other really big expensive things, except way more expensive than a car typically. If Rocket, whether it's pre-qual or actually getting the mortgage for the home, if they can convert it over 60% for $200, $300, $500, $1 million
right,
in the swath of the country for loans, why to conversion to an approved or not an approved mortgage? Why are we slapping ourselves in the back if a dealer really makes it to 20? And I'm not saying this is a comparison or more than a correlation. When I sold cars for 2.25 years, and I sold GM when we had Hummer as an original brand standalone, when we had Pontiac, when we had Oldsmobile, when we had Saab, when we had Saturn. I sold 9 GM brands when I sold off internet leads. My closing rate in 2000, 2001, and 2002, when people were still afraid to put a credit card online for a $22.95 book on this thing called Amazon.com. And I was selling $20,000 to $60,000 vehicles. Yes, Corvette was a little more expensive back then. I sold my first Denali at $47,995 with a window, or roof, I shouldn't say window, with a sunroof. It's now 2.2 times for that same vehicle. And it cost GM about 40% more to make it compared to 22 years ago. It's insanely more profitable for them than it is for the dealer. My closing rate was 26.5% from gross. My CRM, and we did have CRM there back then, did not remove dupes. I didn't heavily have dupes, but my gross count to my sold count, burning gas, was 26.5%. And dealers are closing at 12, clapping themselves in the back because they used to be at 10, and that's great. It is. We help dealers increase their conversion rate if they want to. Real conversion rate. Been building BDCs for the whole time I've been consulting, over 18 years, some of the more successful ones in the country. If you're not looking at the right metrics, again, vanity versus actually what moves a car out, even to comp plan, we all want to get paid. I get that. But don't tell me your conversion rate's 23%. Oh, after bad dupe and this and that. Oh, we use our credit app as a DR tool in our showroom. Like, quit falsifying data.
Yeah.
If you need a better solution, build a standalone website that's your credit app that doesn't report to CRM, that just is the credit app. Stop falsifying your data to a conversion rate.
Well, and we found that too, like with Epic BDC, whenever we would be interviewing dealers, whether we were going to take them as a client or not, and we would be like, what is your close rate? Oh my gosh, if we get them in the door, we close them. Like, we're at a 50% close rate. And I said, what is your close rate on BDC set appointments? Because I mean, the walk-ins, right? Like, what is your internet close rate? Oh no, they're all at 25%. I swear, 25%, we're doing those. And then we come to find out that when we go back and look historically, when we get into their CRM, because we will dig through their CRM before we will take them. And you cannot deter Shasta from getting real numbers. She's a data Nazi. If you don't like the word, turn your ears, but she is all about data. And she's just like, nope. You're closing at an 11%, sir. And so here's what you can realistically expect from a professional BDC team. Now, once we get them in there, unless you're adding sales training in here too, and something different's going to happen with your F&I department who are looking for other ways to close deals, you're still going to be at 11% of all of these points because all we can do is get them there. And then you're only going to close them at 11%. Are you still okay with that? This is what you're going to get. And this is what you're going to pay for.
And one of the ways to raise that social paid rate is to know which audience does what type of behavior, even if you remove retargeting for a moment, which type of audience and which type of ad converts at a different rate, or as they do activities that imply more of a...
Epic BDC is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Tune in.
Research to shopping behavior is what type of...
Multi-attribution, right? You've got to take into effect, there's multi-attribution. Customers need, I think the average was, and it's probably different now and you'll know this, but I think 8 touch points sometimes before they actually even move forward. Did they see something on Facebook then they saw the website, and then they were searching on Google, and then, maybe they heard the radio ad right here. And then we give attribution to the last thing that drove them into the store.
It's not even what drove them to the website. And if you look at website behavior, and, there's quite a few people, friendly competitors and not friendly competitors, have been trying to create talk points about what happens on a website. Mm-hmm. But yes, we can't deny that VDP is a better activity than SRP. Notably, there was a trend before COVID where we started seeing for a few years higher conversions based on merchandising on SRP, not compared to VDP, but an increase, a net increase that was very substantial. And then COVID hit, a lot went away with vehicle supply. That said, if you look at true activities to attribution, which again, if not to try to get dealers to focus on attribution or even vendors, but look at the touch points and look how behavior changes. Most social paid, and I say most because over 50.1% when we're looking at analytics does this type of behavior and has for years. Most of that traffic ends up on the homepage. The last thing you ever want to do in any paid media is land somebody on a homepage, any ad to any company, any vertical, let alone in automotive where we're disastrous. Give them something that matches.
Also, I don't drive them to a VDP either, because the minute that vehicle's gone, they've got nothing. So we drive them to that search.
Give them to offers or something that's filtered or something that matches what you were saying. If it talks about experience because it's a branding ad, then what's your value proposition? Do you have them land on a video first that says, matter of fact, notably customers saying it, love the experience here at ABC Motors or XYZ, like you said earlier, because this is how we get treated. This is our 10th vehicle from ABC because of this. And then you scroll below that video and it has the offer on that vehicle or that model, at least not the VDP mentality, not that stock number, but it has 09 or leases starting at 359 with 7,500 drive off. What is that offer? Then they can click on an SRP or VDP, or maybe they want to explore. But the last thing you should do with any paid media is a homepage
I
landing.
agree.
Why are you making them do more work? If I see a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad right now in my area at home with what we do, I've been getting a lot of Fogo de Chão ads with their $49 promotion, because when you typically walk in, it's about $80 a person for that Brazilian steakhouse. It's a $49 offer. I don't expect to go from there to the Fogo de Chão home page.
Right.
Give me on the offer. Give me straight to your reserve a table
Right.
with that $49 in the copy to validate that I went to the right place, and they do it right. Or they're burgers and something at Capitol Grill right now, which goes off in a few days. Folks, there's been this drumbeat, especially for paid social and paid search. Been this drumbeat in the auto industry, and it's the wrong one. Interestingly, we're now shifting a little towards this Amazon model. Ford just announced that they're doing CPO. Hyundai's already been dancing for the last 2 years with Amazon. Be more like Amazon, be more like Apple, be more like eBay, be more like this. We're not.
Well, that's the thing. And, I yell about this all the time because, like, even with my team, like, I'll go, like, if we're building out a go high level or building out a CRM for one of our non-automotive clients, right? And we're like going, okay, so here's the landing page. And then I'm like, okay, I'm the customer. Walk me through where I'm going next.
Bingo.
Walk me through what I'm going to see next. I want to know, I want to experience that. At some point, I'm going to go, no, I'm out. And so I'll go, you have to remove the no, I'm out. So you have to get me there faster, and you have to get
A/B test it too,
where I expect to go. Get me where I expect to go,
and then test it. Be willing to A/B test. But here's the facts that we don't correlate. Even though the drumbeat of what's being yelled about is more the experience. True. However, we're not selling fully loaded 4,000 if you get a Mac Studio. We're not selling $4,000 computers without a monitor, basically a CPU. We're not selling $10,000 vacations. We're not selling $14 Christmas ugly sweaters.
right?
We're selling now the average, not median's higher. We're now selling an average of a $54,000 new product and 30 something used. And please, let's call it used, folks. Do this. Go to Google Trends, put in new, used, pre-owned, drop down to either United States, keep it United States, drop down to your city and do 12 months or 5 years of data. Nobody types pre-owned into Google search. Period. Stop calling it pre-owned. OEM, stop mandating, except for CPO, because it's different and it has a warranty and it has features and all that. It's used. Start allowing your vehicles to be called used from the drop-down menu to all your advertising. People don't type in pre-owned. It's used. Call people. Nobody says, I'm looking for a pre-owned home. They don't even say I'm looking for a used home. I'm looking for a 5-bedroom home that was not more than 20 years old. Doesn't matter if they have one owner or 5. This is what they're shopping. Quit getting fixated on terms. Go with what people use. It's not a market. It's not pre-owned. I'm shopping for a used car from 40 to 50,000 that has a third row. That's what a consumer says. Stop calling it something people don't use. Test it yourself. You're trying to make a different brand experience. Make better websites.
I agree. Okay, so let's wrap this up real quick and go. Okay, so I want to know, and everybody else, like, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to do business with Gary. I don't know if I'm his perfect client avatar.
Right.
So who is that? I mean, whether it's entry level or I have a 20 rooftop group, like what is that? Like I'm qualified to do business with Gary.
So for the last 18 plus years, and we've made a few mistakes. We all do. You've made a few clients that you go, maybe. And in our lifetime, we've had about 10 that go 90 days or less, and we're done. You're not doing this right. Like,
right.
Okay, we obviously didn't vet you because our average, by the way, at over 18 years on a month-to-month, no contracts, 18 plus years, our average duration is just over 41 months with a dealer or a group. The right mix, other than doing our assessment meeting, is digitally versed, maybe not leading the pack, but digitally versed, absolutely frustrated. Take out in-program, folks, because it shouldn't matter, and it does matter, but there's workarounds always. digitally versed, not putting their toes in. After Automotive Online started in 94, it's 31 years old. It's driving, it's drinking, it's had a kid. There's no beginners today. If you're beginning, no, don't call, please.
Yeah.
How many vendors would say that before sticking a contract in front of somebody's face? Frustrated with their vendors, in program or out of program. They can't answer the difficult questions. The results aren't there, whether or not you're comparing it to 20 Group or Composite or just a golfing buddy down the street that lives by you but just has a different brand, because everybody's a competitor. But let's even say they're selling Porsches and you're selling Kias.
The I'm a Car Chick podcast is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Listen now.
Not to compare the products, but the dealers aren't even thinking about a comparison at that point, except everybody sells the same used cars. Not exactly, but used cars are used cars. That's our meaningfully better executing partner of ours. They're turning over rocks. They're frustrated. They're not getting answers, or they figure it out finally after years. They're being bullshitted straight up.
Yeah.
And their OEM told them, somebody at a conference told them, a friend gave a shout out. We're not selling. We're usually getting inbound, especially on referral. We don't advertise anyway. So really that's it, is we're maybe not steeped in digital, but we're well-versed enough. We're measuring more now, and we see cracks where we thought we were actually rocking, or we're told every month, you're killing it, you're killing it, you're killing it. And after 3 years with that website company or the paid search company or whatever else it is, we just realized recently we're not killing it. Or we realized a long time ago we're not killing it, but every vendor we switch to does about the same, slightly better in the beginning, and then it tapers. So really that's it, is somebody's turnover rocks, can't get an accountable answer, and is fed up. That's typically who we go with. And I'll give you the example of, now we lost 2 this year that were both over 10 years. But right now we have, well, I can't count one rooftop for one client, but we have 5 or 6 rooftops over 10 years. They were on and gone, both the same, left 2 times and came back. One called me back in the fall of 22 and said, you're coming back, you're taking over everything. And if I ever call you and say these words, I'm canceling, just say, no, we've had this conversation. You told me you realize that the results are subpar relatively fast. So no. And so a couple examples of that. But
I love that. So then how can people reach out to you? How can they find you? Not like you're invisible and they don't know.
I don't see the ticker at the bottom of the screen anyway. It's IMACSWEB, IMAXweb.com. Look up Gary May IMAX and anything to do with a search or an AI search. Same.
And I'll put all of his contact info down below also, folks.
817-527-1945 is our office line. Press 1 if you want to talk with me. Press any other number if you want to talk with somebody else, including accounting. But yeah, it's look up IMAX or IMAX Web, and you will find us. If you're tired of the BS and you want meaningfully better results, yeah, you got to give us a little bit of rope. But if you want meaningfully better results, that's
and not a desperation call. Like we're like 3 months from going under. Like
no,
those
however,
hard to turn around. Like whenever they call us and they're like, you're our last ditch effort. Well, first of all, if social's your last ditch effort, you have a whole lot more problems than
bingo.
I can solve.
Right. So give you an example. We have a brand new client literally last week. The operator has been with us on and off for 14 years at different stores, different groups. Called when he landed again, and they have a Honda store. Interestingly, that's underperforming. Not going to say more than that as far as like who they could be. Is that we got to turn things up. We have to turn things up like nobody's business, because on the financial statement, this looks really bad. And so we're just partnering with them. We're going to be moving the needle in 30, 60, 90 days. And that means the overall need of like, oh, we could beat you in this. Sure, anybody can beat us in a single thing. Like I said earlier, mile deep, mile wide. We don't have a competitor in automotive, if that's my brag point, if that's my elevator pitch. We have staff of 19. We're small. We have a staff of 19 between content writers. Nobody else does that in North America like us, with actually working media in automotive in the writing crew. So yes, press fleet access, auto show access, ride and drives before the vehicle goes retail day one. We're writing that content because our writers do that. It's been 15 years of our 18 plus years doing that. Because when I started the company, I did everything. And yes, Motor Press Guild member when I used to work at Edmunds and Ismo Cars. I'm the one that moved the needle on those parts of the relationships, the OEMs, the press fleets, things like that, and dealers that gave us vehicle supply as well. But that's where we're different, is we do our whole platform differently. But between social, graphics, content, editing, consulting, vendor accountability, all of it is we change dealerships from the inside out, not from the outside in. We do not resell a product, and we do not take any reseller fees or even referral fees, giving up a few $1 million of top line income in the last 18 years because of that. It's integrity, everything above board. We do make a mistake. Like you said earlier, we own it. I was in a meeting a little over a week ago where somebody said, hey, our LinkedIn ad budget for this, because it's a really unique campaign, was this. You exceeded it. We made an accommodation on that overspend. We made a mistake. We fixed it, and we accommodated the client. That's what you do. Everything's above board. It's not about being incredibly accountable and transparent or not. You either are accountable and transparent, or you're not. Exactly. You can't be like, we're really accountable compared to, and we're more transparent than our compares. No, you either are or you're not.
That glass is either see-through or it ain't.
Bingo. It's full of wine or old fashioned with enough cube and enough Jerry, you can't see through it. But yeah, what it comes down to is you have to move the needle, and incredibly with the 1,000+ vendors, whether they're in program or not, pervasively, there's not accountable, measurable, and transparent, even though that's what the industry screams for the customers. If our backing partners, vendors can't do that, how are we?
Exactly.
So anyway.
Gary, it has been a pleasure. And I think after this, everybody knows exactly what you do and how you do it and how you can serve them, and who's an ideal client for you. So I appreciate you spending this time with me. I know that I got to squeeze in one day when he was home. So I was like, when are you home? I got this one day. So I got lucky enough to catch him when he was at home. And we look forward to seeing you in all of your travels. What next conference are you at?
We will see each other, I believe, you and Shasta, at the Atlanta Women in Automotive social. Will be the next one. I'm going to miss Charlotte this week with me being out in Tucson. I'm going to squeeze in another long weekend of bike riding with some really, real cool people down the Tour de Tucson this weekend. So after that, we've got a couple conferences, a couple events. I'll do the WIA announcements. I try to be very quiet about where I'm going to be on the consulting or the regular conference side, but I'll be at WIA Atlanta. Of course.
All right, guys, tune in, watch Gary and his adventures. It's always fun to be at an event with him somewhere and you see him rolling up the stairs with his bike. Exactly. Until then, tune in, follow Gary on all of his socials. I'll drop them down below, and just keep your social going good, keep your marketing up. If you need help on your dealership side of it, even if you're killing it and you just want to be better, hit up IMAX and see what they can do to take you to that next level. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, everybody.